Hey everybody, welcome to What the Flick. Francis, Tim, Alonso, Fear the Walking Dead, Season 2, Episode 9, Los Muertos. I think I've mentioned this before, and again, I'm the non-Walking Dead viewer here. But
which we all appreciate.
What I get lost with these shows is this notion of nothing's going to get any better.
No, yeah.
Ever. So it's just a question of how quickly are things going to get shittier, and just how shitty are they going to get? Like, there's no end point here
now, it's funny
of fixing this, right?
That you bring this up in this episode because we actually see two viewpoints of people that say just that. Ophelia is saying, hey, you know, we're not going to make it through this.
Right,
this
right.
is just survival, and like, I'm sick of it. I'm done surviving. It's stressful. I'm tired. And then Dr. Nunez, the pharmacist, who says, yeah, things are going to get better. This is the burning away of the dregs of civilization, and once the dead go back to being dead, what's left will be the faithful, us, with a cleaner, better world. So hold on for that.
So this is a really long and gross rapture, basically.
Yeah, that's what
I don't buy it.
He's saying this is the infection, this is the fever of the world, and we'll come out on the other side of this.
They have an interesting concept that they could zone in on, right? Which we kind of touched on religion in The Walking Dead. They're in Mexico. It's got the Day of the Dead, which is obviously their sacred holiday that they uphold. And that idea can play into the season if they executed it a little bit better. I just don't think their execution on the episodes are as strong. For one, like, who would have thought that all we needed to soften the drug cartel would be a post-apocalyptic world? Because they're just going to let someone go away after he just stole from them. Like, we know that's not the case. Basically, I know he's talking about how...
Well, the promise of Oxy is...
Promise of Oxy, yeah, but if it's drug cartel that we know, and that's the idea that they're taking over, I've seen enough episodes and enough scenes of Sicario that doesn't happen. That they're going to chop his hand off and they're going to follow them back and take what they want.
God, I wish they would have done that. I mean, they still could follow them back, which is what Lucy thought they were going to.
But that's what I mean by the execution. We're not believing that that's the situation. We believe that... again, the premise is interesting, how it's just juggling back and forth with faith. They just have to go and follow through with it, and I think that they're not trying to really push the message as well as they should.
Someone promising to get rid of Nick is always my favorite part of this show.
As much as I wanted them to cut his hand off with a machete in that scene because I thought it would have been brave and interesting, Rick, in the comics of The Walking Dead, loses his hand actually very early on.
Yeah.
And they made the decision not to do that on the show because it would have been expensive to make his hand not there in every single shot.
Yeah. Well, they're thinking about saving some money.
So they're not going to do it here because his show has a much smaller budget. They're definitely not going to do that for a character that they're clearly going to keep around a while.
I was glad that we get a nice, long Coleman Domingo, Kim Dickens talking scene, you know. Because they're good. They're good actors, and this, and Kim is from Alabama, incidentally. Because I'm sorry, I'm still reeling from the All Nick episode, because that character I can only take so much of. Yeah. And when we start back this episode and we're still with Nick, I'm like, oh, come on. Is this now Nick the Walking Dead? Yeah. Like, what's the deal? And so at least we're, and we still have, Cliff Curtis still to unpack, and his creepy son, and whoever else is still left out there. So I kind of forgot already. Reuben Blades dead? Did we lose him?
Which one?
Ophelia's father.
We see him in
the
moments before he should have died.
Right. Okay.
And so we think he's dead.
But I think that they're seeing in the bar, like, their friendship, their blossoming kind of weird friendship is the secret weapon, I think, of this show.
Really? Because it seems like it's about to get them killed.
Yeah, it's true. We know
them getting drunk and hammering on a piano, throwing glasses at the wall when they know they're surrounded by walkers is not the smartest. Although I did enjoy that scene.
But again, that's the concept that we've got in this episode. I think that it's like, all right, if you know that things aren't going to go to plan, like, why not steal a bag of candy and try and make a little girl feel a little bit better? Like, it is going to be doom and gloom, but that's what the idea is, that what's wrong with trying to indulge in some things whilst you can? If it is going to be doom and gloom, you don't always have to be in survival mode. You can kind of take a step back for a little bit.
Call me crazy, but I think that cake would have
fit in the cards. Yeah. I was thinking that too.
Like, I know she told him no.
It's not candy, by the way. It's a golosina. It's like a little chocolate-covered jelly roll.
You guys aren't good with candy anyway. You just need to take a leaf out of
your haggis candy is delicious, I'm sure. That was bugging me, the whole it could have fit in the cart thing. But no, the thing about them getting drunk when they're surrounded by walkers, it reminded me of MASH back in the day, the TV show. There was a documentary about the making of the show that was on PBS or whatever. And I remember there was an episode that emerged where the doctors are drunk, which they would get on the show, and then they have to go into surgery. And apparently that started because they were in the writer's room, and somebody said, oh, well, we can't have them drink in this scene because they're going to be operating later on. And somebody said, well, how would they know that?
Yeah.
And so it's the sort of thing where even when you're a survivalist, you cannot be 24/7 on your guard. I mean, nobody operates like that. So the fact that they have this moment where they let loose a little, yeah, I mean, sure, it puts them in jeopardy, but it's a human moment of somebody who's in that situation because you get exhausted just constantly being, on the alert.
Yeah.
And as someone that has watched 6 seasons of The Walking Dead, we know that characters should be better at surviving. But I mean, I guess this is Fear the Walking Dead. They're brand new to this. They don't know the rules. They don't know how to sweep a building and clear it. And
from what I imagine, kind of putting timelines together, they're probably at a very similar point to where Rick was waking up in The Walking Dead. Like, they've been around for enough. The walkers are starting to decay a little bit. They're not fresh. So you don't expect them to be all badass as they would go forward. So they are going to make mistakes. And
I'm fine with that.
And
I'm fine with that timeline.
I'm fine with their decisions and their idiotic decisions at this point, because we talked about this so many times in The Walking Dead when it was really interesting in like seasons 2 and 3, where people were contemplating whether or not faith was going to get them through, whether or not just giving up was going to get them through, or fighting for survival. Because as you mentioned at the start, Alonso, like, if there is no means to this end, then why not? Like, what is keeping them from doing this? Like, we just see from the environment that Nick's in, they've got their own way of trying to deal with this case. They've created a goal. And I really liked, as much as this episode was pretty dreary, I did like the scene in which the pharmacist was talking about how he made up that he had a serum which would help the sacrificed, or was it, I don't know if he was bitten or whatever else, the person who walked into the walkers.
The saline solution,
yeah. Saline solution. Just to kind of give peace of mind.
But he has apparently, or he says, survived a bite.
Yeah.
So,
which is a new and interesting thing for this franchise.
Okay, well,
that
so
has
we'll
never happened
see
before.
if he's full of shit or not.
Yeah.
Now, I loved the part of all the walkers throwing themselves out of the hotel.
Yeah, suicide walkers.
That was clever. That was interesting. That again is something we've never seen before.
Now, but my thing was, was that just a fast way to get out of the building, and are their bones still able to let them walk after that fall, or were they just?
We've seen walkers being set on fire. We've seen walkers go through all sorts of, like, basically while their mind's still active, they can just crawl and push.
I was going to say,
you don't feel pain.
Like, I get walking across the floor of the ocean or whatever that's, but it seems like, oh wait, you've just shattered your legs. Like, how do you now get up and keep going?
Was there a moment there when you thought it was Ophelia that threw herself off?
Oh yeah, totally.
Although it wouldn't have made sense for her to go a floor above to be seen by Alicia.
Unless you.
That's true.
Yeah, I was imagining that, but yeah, that was an interesting scene. I'm guessing that we now are led to the assumption that Ophelia has been cornered somewhere. I don't know. I didn't like the false drama. I feel like they could have executed that episode better without having this kind of, where is she? Is she trapped? Well, is this going on?
It seems to me, again and again, the writers like to have it both ways. They want that shock value of seeing Ophelia fall, but they don't actually want to kill Ophelia. Yeah. So you get both. They trick you for a second, but then it's not real. It's not real. So
which they did.
Yeah, we'll see Ophelia again. We won't never see her again.
Right, and the natural gas lines apparently remained sacrosanct enough to keep the water heater in the hotel going. So
nice
that but believe me, I would so want to shower by that point in this nightmare.
Nick needs to go in for a couple in there as well. Yeah, he needs a shower.
I think he's beyond that.
Well, but now he's with Mexican Juliana Margulies, and they're both like goring themselves up. So
Very good.
I'm so sick of Nick being the most impressionable person on the planet.
Yeah,
like, he seems to fall for anyone that is chanting. Just if you can repeat something over and over again, Nick's like,
he doesn't even speak the language.
This is my worldview now.
He is won over by that sermon. I'm like, do you now suddenly get this, or are you just is it just you're caught up in the moment and you have no clue what the hell's being said?
I do see that, but I think we're also. I think to play devil's advocate, it is the same sort of ideology, Jesus Christ, that he fell for in the previous with Celia. Is that her name? Cecilia.
Yeah.
In the previous, because she was trying to find a way to be at peace, and no one wants to be at peace. Like, the other group doesn't want to be at peace. They want to consistently push for something better. Let's go and find something else. They couldn't deal with the fact that a group was caging up the walkers. And yeah, that might come back and bite them in the ass, but it's better than running around with no sanctuary at all. So Nick is trying to find a way that he can be in an environment that is accepting at least in order to get by.
So the point of the wall, basically the group of walkers is between the bus and the rest of the world. If somebody inside the village is dying anyway, they just send them out there to get devoured or bitten or whatever, and so they then become one and add to the security force? Is that the...
So I guess that's keeping them safe from the gangs?
That was my impression, yeah.
It's very strange. I mean, they also sort of break a couple of walker rules in the sense that what we've learned about the walkers right now is that they would be pressed up against that fence because they can smell humans, they can hear them chanting.
Right.
They wouldn't just be mingling around.
Milling about,
they would be a threat, but I guess here they're a defense. Sure.
Who knows?
Okay.
They're trying to keep them happy. They've made a deal with the head walker, and they're like, we'll give you 1 human a week, and you guys keep us safe. That's what it seems like at the moment.
Sure. So,
is the show? Are they taking Labor Day off, or we are?
We
won't be here. But,
maybe Thursday we'll be back.
Yeah, well, at some point, ups will be caught. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.